Hello everyone, and thank you once again for joining me for another episode of Energy Vampires. And in this video, I'm going to talk about thoughts and intention, right? It's powerful stuff, right? Because we create our reality, we create our lives by our thoughts, right? On a very simple level, let me illustrate. Okay, so right here, I have a cup of coffee. My coffee mug says, "Nothing's going to stop me now. I've got a coffee," right? So I was just trying to position that so you can see it. Huh. Yeah, pretty good mug. Just got that a few days ago. Pretty cool. Okay, so before I went and got this cup of coffee, before I acquired this cup of coffee and manifested this cup of coffee, I thought about I'd like a cup of coffee, right? And every single thing that we do, you think about your life, every single thing that you've acquired, every single journey that you've made, every single thing that you do, it originates with a thought, right? Nothing is ever achieved without it having first originated as a thought. Okay, so I'm going to go into a few things, and we will see just how powerful thought and collective thought, the collective consciousness and intention, right? It's not something to be taken lightly, okay? When we take it lightly, we disempower our lives because we're not utilizing, we're not harnessing the power that we can bring into our lives by realizing the importance of thoughts and intention, okay? I mean, we are talking about proper scientific experiments in controlled environments that give my claims validity today, okay? So there has been an experiment, right? It's called telephone telepathy, okay? An experiment conducted where people were given a list of possible callers, right? And they had their phones ring and they were able to guess who it was that was ringing them, okay, from a list of possible callers. And you know what? The accuracy was quite profound and, better than chance, okay? Now, how often has that happened to you? Has that happened to you? It's happened to me. Sometimes my phone rings, and before I look at my screen, I know who it is. Okay, now in my case, I've probably only got like 3 or 4 options, right? But some of us have like maybe a couple of hundred people that they talk to on a regular basis. And so it's a bit more impressive for you if that's the case. Okay, I want to talk about dogs. There was another experiment conducted with dogs. Very interesting, okay? Very interesting in regards to the intention and thought. So you know how it is that, and dog owners will relate to this. So, dogs, they will wait by the door. If you go out, they wait by the door for you to come home, and they're very excited when you come home. They're wagging their tails and they're jumping up at you, and they love, they're really excited to see you, right? And what they did is there was obviously some webcams, or I don't know, I don't know what they did, but they did this, and who's they? I'm talking about the experimenters, right? Okay, so the experimenters, they sent the owners of the dogs out, and what they did is they noticed that there was a change in the dog's behavior. The dogs reacted the moment, right, now check this out, the moment that the owner intended to return home, right? Now, it gets better. They also noticed, they tried to confuse the dogs, and they sent the owners home in unfamiliar cars, because some people could argue, yeah, you know what, the dog, they recognize the engine of the car, they recognize the car, and so of course they know when the owners are coming home. Well, they actually got the owners of the cars, the owners of the dogs, to drive home in different cars. The dog's never seen, not familiar, and the dog went wild. The dogs go wild. They know their owners are coming home, right? From intention, they know it. So very interesting. Now I'm going to try and find the sources of these experiments and put them in the description so you can check them out and know that I'm not making this stuff up, right? Okay, so it has been proven that using meditative thought, right, that you can actually affect the outcome of an experiment, and so much so it can be done on the other side of the world. Now, this is proven in an experiment I'm just about to tell you. Now, if this is true, I mean, you think about how you can change your life with the power of thought, right? Okay, so there is an experiment whereby there was a photon shooter laser, okay, that made photons pass through a plaque with two slits, okay, and there was a board on the other side that showed the pattern that these photons were forming as they passed through the slits. Okay, so two things. First of all, what happened was when there was no observers, the slits would pass through as like waves, okay, and form a pattern on the board, okay. But when observed, okay, there was a very different outcome. When observed, the photons would pass through one slit or the other, as you would expect, right, and form lines on the board on the other side, okay. Now, what they then did in the experiment is they would have meditators outside the room visualizing and intending the photons to behave in a certain way and to go through a particular slit. And just by thought and intention and meditation and focus, they were able to affect the outcome and got the outcome that they expected. Okay, now that's pretty amazing. And this has been done, okay, and I'm gonna cite the work in the description. Okay, this was done from different parts of the world, multiple experiments, multiple scientists responsible for the experiment and documenting the experiment. It's been done for over a long period of time, spanning a couple of decades. Now, the results of this experiment received a 5 sigma result, okay, which means that there is a 1 in 3.5 million chance that the results were due to statistical fluctuations, okay. So very profound, very definite scientific experiment, okay, proving about something that is termed observational effect, okay, where observational effects will determine the outcome of an experiment, okay. So what this is clearly telling us is that consciousness, thought, intention is a very active participant in reality. So I want you to reflect on your life and think about the bad days you've had, think about the good days you've had, and I want you to think about, those times when you got out of bed the wrong side and you were just in a bad mood. Maybe something happened very early in the morning and the way that you dealt with that situation was negative and you put yourself in a negative frame of mind, and your whole day went bad, okay. And you think about the days where you responded positively or didn't allow a bad thing in the morning to ruin your day, and the rest of the day, even when bad things happened, they didn't affect you, right? And you attracted lots of good things into your life. One example, what I do? I don't open my mail in the morning. You see, the mailman comes in the morning and you go to your front door, the mail has arrived. Now, what's in the mail? Bills, right? I hate bills. I do. I hate them. I don't like bills. And if you get a late bill, then you get a reminder. It's got the red font. It's horrible. Don't like it. I have to deal with it, right? And I do. But I don't want that shit in the morning, right? Because in the morning, what happens in the morning will set the precedent for the rest of the day. Now, if I did read some of that mail, or if something happened, if there was a phone call as soon as I woke up and it was something bad, I get to an email, it's something that's made me pissed off or in a bad mood because it's like a big workload or something like that, I need to make sure that I respond emotionally and cognitively in a positive manner, because that is going to set the precedent for the rest of the day. People talk about the first hour of the day. It's called the golden hour, right? You can decide that golden hour, that first hour of the day. It's very important that you treat that first hour of the day very reverently, very respectfully. You have got to decide to build yourself up, get inspired, get motivated for the day, because that will make or break your day ahead. Yeah. I mean, we know that from all that we've discussed in this video so far, the power of thought and intention. Okay. So yeah, what about the rice experiment? I think that's very interesting. So there was a Japanese scientist, forget his first name, but last name was Emoto, and he did this ice crystal experiment. He, using thoughts, he was able to affect the geometry of ice crystals in frozen water. Now, that has been controversial because, there was scientists that tried to replicate his results and they couldn't. Okay, which is interesting. Okay, because like some would say that his experiment has been debunked, but it's interesting because we have just been discussing the fact that you will get the expected outcome. I mean, this is a big thing in modern day like science, in quantum physics. You go and talk to them at CERN, they'll tell you that when an experiment is done, with on a subatomic level, right, results vary according to the observers, according to the expectations of the observers. On the subatomic level, we don't get regular results. The subatomic doesn't behave in the same way as our natural universe, above the subatomic. Yeah, because it depends who's watching. So anyway, there was this rice experiment done, and I'm going to do it, and if I do it, I'm going to make a video and put it on my channel, and I suggest that you do it, because we should all be conducting scientific experiments, right? We too easily accept scientific results that we don't observe and confirm for ourselves. We read about it and we accept it, but it could be all bollocks, but we never question it, do we? Right? If you can, if it's within your power to do so, then we should do it. So you know what? I'm going to get some rice. You boil some rice and you make 2 jars. And one is like, I love you, peace, love and light, and like you put good thoughts and intentions into that jar, right? And then in the second jar, it's like, I hate you, fuck you, whatever, like some hateful messages. And you don't give any positive intention, right? And the 2 jars now it's got to be the same room temperature, the same lighting. Don't go cheating. Don't put them all different, so put them in the same controlled conditions. And then, let's see what happens, right? I'm going to do that experiment. But others have done the experiment, and they have found that the jar of rice with good thought and good intention did not rot and degrade and biodegrade and grow mold and fungus or whatever, right? It didn't anywhere near as fast as the one with the bad intentions, right? The one with the bad intentions just went really bad really quickly. Check it up. Search it on YouTube or on Google, rice experiment, and you'll see it. Lots of people have done it, right? But do it for yourself if you want to adopt it. You see, I haven't done it, but I'm going to do it. But I already know the power of thought, and I've experienced the power of thought. Okay, so that's my video. Thank you for listening. Take care. See you in the next one.